Alright, let's begin with the update profile activity. In this activity, we are going to let the user update any one of the fields or any one of the data of the user, or all the fields or all the data of the user. So let's begin by creating one empty activity, and I will rename it to update profile activity. Then let me just open the user profile activity. From this activity, I'm going to copy two methods which we have defined to display the action bar menu. So from here, first of all, I will just uncomment the part or the else if part which is for update menu profile. I will uncomment that else if statement because now we have created the update profile activity, so we can uncomment it. Similarly, I will do the same in the upload profile pic activity. And I will just change the name of the context here, that is upload profile pic activity is the context for this activity, and I will finish this activity also. So in short, except the user profile activity, in the rest of the activities, when we are opening any activity from the action bar menu, we will finish that activity because we don't want to have multiple duplicate activities running. We just want the user profile activity as the home activity or the main activity to be active and running in the background. I don't know if you are getting it, but when we will use the app, then you will get this more clearly. Alright, let's run the app, and I'm getting some kind of error here. The data is invalid, r.text. Sometimes we come across this problem in Android Studio. The main reason behind this issue is your antivirus. In most of the cases, the antivirus which we have installed in our computer interferes with the working of the Android Studio. So you have to give the necessary permission to the Android Studio from your antivirus, and I hope that problem will be solved if in case you are having it. And you can see in the app that if we open the upload profile picture and we press the back button, we are returned back to the profile activity, that is the user profile activity. And now, before continuing with the layout of the update profile activity, let us just declare the global variables that we are going to use. That is, we are going to declare the edit text for name, date of birth, and mobile. Then we are going to declare the radio group variables. We will be using radio group to display the gender which was saved in the database. And then we will need some string variables to hold the data of the user like name, date of birth, gender, and mobile. Then after that we will declare one Firebase Auth variable. And then finally we will declare the progress bar. Alright, then getting inside the onCreate method, I will just set the title of the activity. Alright, I think this is enough for now. We can just start with the layout first. So I will just change this to scroll view, and then I will add one background color. I have been doing this in the previous activities also, so it might not be new to you. Then getting inside it, I will just create a relative layout. And let's add padding and margin all around it. And let's keep the background white. Then within it, I will create a text view. This will be used to display the heading for this activity. And let me add some margin on the top. Alright, then in the text part, you can add any text that you want to display here. Then let's align it in the center. And I'm going to use text appearance property to use the predefined font type and styles. Alright, then getting below it, I will define another text view. This text view is just like a label text, so it will just show name. So let the ID be update profile name. And then let this text view be below the text view which has the ID update profile head. I hope you know how we work with the relative layout. And then let's add some margin on the top and some padding all around it. Then text size and text color are purely intuitive. It depends upon your choice. Alright, then getting below it, we will use edit text. So this edit text will be showing the name which is in the database corresponding to the currently logged in user. And if the user wants to change the name, the user just has to delete whatever is in that edit text and then give a new name and then just save it. We will see how we are going to do that. But for now, let's just focus on the layout. And we have seen how to create edit text and text views before also, so I'm not going to get into too much detail. So we can just add background and we have already defined border XML file, so I'll just use it. Then the input type will be text person name, then some padding around it. In the same way, then I will create another text view for date of birth. Alright, then below the date of birth text view, I'm going to create edit text for the date of birth. So we can just copy the text view for the name and paste it and make the changes so that this text view is for the date of birth. So change the ID, layout below and text properties. And don't forget to add focusable property here and make it false so that on the first click on the edit text, it will open up the date picker. Then again copy the text view and paste it at the end, and let's make it for gender. Alright, now let me fix the margins first. So I will make the margin top as 10 dp. I think that's better. So in all the text views, make the margin top as 10 dp. Alright. Then below the text view for gender, I'm going to create the radio group because we cannot use edit text for gender. So I'll just quickly create a radio group. And let this radio group be below the text view for gender. Alright. And the orientation be horizontal. Then just close the tag, and within it I will create two radio buttons, one for male and one for female. Alright. Then again let's just copy the text view and paste it below the radio group. This time it will be for mobile. So let me make the appropriate changes. And then we can just copy one edit text and paste it below the text view. Get rid of the focusable property here and make the other required changes. Alright, let's make the first button for update profile pic activity, because since we are updating the details of the profile, so it is better to have one button for uploading profile picture. Even though we have a different activity for uploading the profile picture, but we can open that activity from update profile activity as well. And I will just give it a random color for now. Alright, then let's just copy this button and paste it below. And we can make the next button for update email. We have not created update email activity as of now, but we will do that later. So I'll just create the button for now, even though it will not be functional. Alright, then again let's copy this button and paste it below. And let's make the final button as update profile. And let this button be below update email button. Alright, now the final thing is the progress bar, which we can just copy from user profile activity. and we can just paste it at the bottom. So the layout part of the update profile activity is done. Now let's get back to the Java and let's start binding the views first. So let's begin with the progress bar. Then the rest of the edit text. Let me just change this spelling. M is missing in the edit text update mobile. Alright, then let's bind the views for the radio group. Then we need to get one instance of the Firebase authentication. And also let's obtain the Firebase user. So we will just obtain the currently logged in user using the auth profile variable. Then let's show the detail of the user using one method. So we will just call showProfile method. And within that method, I'm just going to pass the Firebase user. And this user is the currently logged in user. And after that, let me just create the method. And under this method, we are going to fetch the data from the database and set all the edit text accordingly. So first of all, let's obtain the user ID or the UID of the currently logged in user. And I'm going to save that in one string variable. And to get the UID, we just have to use the method getUID. Alright, then we need to obtain the reference from the database for the node which is labeled as registered users. So for that, I'm going to use database reference space reference profile, or you can give any other name that you want, equals Firebase database dot get instance. This will get one instance of the Firebase database dot get reference. Now this will get the reference for the specified path, and the path is registered users, and that reference will be saved in reference profile variable. Then after that, we can just start the progress bar because the fetching of the data will start in the next statement. So it's better to start the progress bar from here itself. Then using the reference that we have obtained, that is the reference profile, we will obtain the data which is inside the database. So we will just use reference profile dot child. And within child, we will mention the user ID of the currently logged in user. Because if you remember, the parent node is the registered users. Then under registered users, we have different nodes which are saved using the UID of different users. So let's say one user ID is 123. So under registered users, there will be one node with the name 123. And let's say the currently logged in user is the user with UID 123. So in this statement, we will be referring to the parent node registered users, then dot child, which means there will be one child of registered users in the bracket UID. And UID here is 123. So the data which is under the node with the name 123 will be obtained as a snapshot. And then we are going to use the helper class that we have created in the beginning, that is the read write user details, and we will save the data coming from the snapshot into that class. Anyways, we will just use add listener for single value event here. And let me just get rid of this. Alright. Then on data change, we want to obtain the data and save it in one object of our helper class. So I'll just write read write user details space read user details equals snapshot dot get value, then read write user details dot class. Now we have to check if there was any data present or not, or whether there is any data in the object that we have created. If it contains data, then we are going to obtain those data and then set the edit text accordingly. Alright. Then after that, we have to set the radio button according to the gender. So I'll just check if the text gender dot equals male, which means if the gender is male, then radio button update gender selected equals find view by ID, and here we will give the ID of the male radio button, which means if the gender in the database is male, then we are going to set the radio button corresponding to male as the selected radio button. And in else case, we can just set the female radio button as the selected button. It's very simple. And then after that, we will just make the selected radio button as checked. So for that, we have to use radio button update gender selected dot set checked, and we'll make it true. Alright, then just find out where this if statement is ending. That is the if statement, which is checking whether the read user details are null or not. Just check where this block of statement is ending, and there we have to add one else part, and in the else we will just display one toast message. Then coming out of the else part, we just have to set the visibility of the progress bar. So that means in either case, whether the data was obtained or not, irrespective of that, we have to change the visibility of the progress bar. Alright. And under on cancelled method also, we can just display the toast and set the visibility of the progress bar. Now let's run the app. And let me open update profile details. And you can see as soon as the activity opens up, the present data of the user is visible and it is set in the edit text, which means the user can see its data in different edit text. And now if the user wants to update the data, the user can just edit the text which is written in the edit text and then click on update profile. So we will see how to get that done now. Let's get back to the update profile activity, and then just below where we have called showProfile method, I will define the upload profile pic button. This button is just going to open the upload profile pic activity. Let me just check in the layout if I have used the same ID for the button. Button upload profile pic. So it is fine. Then I just have to set the on-click listener on this button to open the upload profile pic activity. Alright, and I'll just finish this activity because after opening any other activity from this activity, I don't want update profile activity to stay in the background. I want to return back to the user profile activity. So on running the app, you can see that the button is working now. In the same way, we can set up the button for email even though the update email activity is not available as of now, but I'll just create it for the sake of completion, and I'll just comment out this part so that later we can just come back to this part and uncomment it. And then we need to set the date picker on the edit text, since we are using edit text for showing the date of birth. But in case the user wants to change its date of birth, then in that case we need to open up the date picker so that the user can select any other date. So for that, let's just open the register activity. In the register activity, we have set up the date picker on edit text, so we can just scroll to that part, and then we can just copy this entire on click listener that we have defined. And coming back to the update profile activity, we can paste it here. Then we just have to change the name of the edit text variable here. Alright. Now the other thing that we have to change here is that while the date picker was opened up in register activity, there we were just showing the current date. Like let's say if today is 1st August 2021 and the user clicks on the date picker, or the user clicks on the edit text, then 1st August 2021 will be the default date in the date picker. But since we are talking about the update profile activity now, which means there's already some date saved in the database. So instead of opening up today's date, I want to open up the date which was selected by the user last time, or the date which was saved in the database to be displayed in the date picker. So let's see how we can set the date in the date picker. So first of all, we have to extract the date, month and year into different variables, and for that I'll create one array. So let's see how we can do that. String text SADOB, then square brackets equals text dob, because text dob is the string variable which is holding the date which was saved by the user while registering. And now we want to split the data which is inside this variable delimited by /, which means we want the three numbers to be saved into different indexes or into different indices. The date will be like dd/mm/YYYY. So which means there will be three different numbers delimited by /. So we can save those three numbers into different indices. So for that I'll just use split method, and this method takes one regex, that is a regular expression, and here I'll just give it / within double inverted commas, which means the text which is inside the text dob will be splitted up according to the /. After that we can just obtain those numbers and save them into different variables. So let's say integer day equals integer dot parse int. Integer dot parse int will be used to convert the data which is of string type into integer type, and then within bracket text SADOB, and the index is 0. In the same way, we will obtain the month, that is integer dot parse int, to convert the data type into integer. Then here the index will be 1, and the index of the month starts from 0. We have to subtract 1 from here. We have seen this logic in register activity also. There we were adding 1 to the month, and here we are going to do the just opposite. We will just subtract 1. Then in the same way, I'll obtain the year, which is at the index 2. After that, let's just declare the DatePicker dialog. Then we need to change the context. Context here is update profile activity. Then coming inside on data set, we will have to change the name of the edit text. Alright, the rest of the variables are fine. I don't think we need to change anything. Let's run the app. And let's click on the edit text for date of birth. And you can observe that the edit text is displaying the date of birth which was saved before. And if we click on the edit text, you can see that the same date is visible in the edit text. It is not showing today's date or any other date, but the date which was saved by the user. Alright, now let's get into update button, that is update profile button. So let's bind the view first. And then we have to set one new on-click listener for this button. And from here, let's just call one method UpdateProfile, and we will pass Firebase user. Then let's just create this method. And under this method, we are going to define the logic for updating the profile. So first of all, let's declare one integer variable selected gender ID, and in this variable we are going to save the ID of the radio button which was selected. So for that, just use radio group update gender. This is the name of the radio group variable. Then dot get checked radio button ID. This will return ID of the checked radio button. Then we need to use the variable that we have created for the selected radio button, and I have saved it as radio button update gender selected. And then we can bind the view using the integer variable that we have just now declared. Alright, now let's move back to the register activity once again, because we need to define some if else statement to check the value for different edit text. So instead of writing those again and again, we can just open the register activity and we can copy those part. So getting inside the register button under the onClick method, we can start copying from this part, that is validate mobile number. We can start copying from here till the last else part. Alright, then coming back to our update profile activity, inside update profile method we can just paste it. So this regular expression is going to check if the mobile number starts from 6, 7, 8 or 9 and the rest of the digits can be any numbers and the total should be 10. Then after that we are checking if the other fields are empty or not. So I'll just make the required changes, like we have to change the name of the edit text variables here and also the context for all the toast messages. So I'll do that quickly. And we can get rid of this else if part where we are checking if the email is empty or not, because we are not updating the email from update profile activity. So we can get rid of all the references which are related to email. And then we can get rid of the else if part which are for password and confirm password. Alright. Now coming to the else if, where we were checking whether any one of the radio button was checked or not, we can just get rid of this condition, because in any case one radio button will always be selected because we are making that selection using the database. And the database will always have one gender, because that is how we have defined the register activity. The user cannot register until and unless the user selects any one of the gender, and that gender will be saved in the database. And then using the database we are setting the radio button in the update profile activity. That means this check is not required, so we can just get rid of it. Instead we can just check if the text inside the selected radio button is empty or not. Then for the mobile, we can just change the name of the edit text and the context in the toast. Alright. And we can get rid of this register user method. And also this is radio button update gender selected. Then finally we can obtain the text from all the edit text. And then we can write them into the database. So I'll just use the helper class read write user details. And this time we are writing the data, so I will give the object the name write user details. Then after that, let's extract one user reference from database for registered users. and then let's obtain the user ID of the user. We have seen this how to do this before also, so I don't think I have to explain this part. I'll just quickly do it. And then using the reference dot child, within the child we will be passing the user ID of the user. Then as we have seen before also, we need to use set value method, and within this method we can pass the object of the helper class that we have created. So all the data which is inside the helper class object will be saved in the database. Then just add one add-on complete listener. Then finally under the onComplete method we can check if the task is successful. Now if the task is successful, which means the date of birth, gender and mobile have been written into the database, in that case we can just update the display name into the user object of the Firebase. We have seen this part also, so I'll just quickly do it. Then after that we can just display one toast message. Now from preventing the user to return back to the update profile activity after successfully updating the activity, I'll use intent with the flags clear top, clear task and new task. We have seen the use of these flags before also. Then after that I'll just start the activity, that is the user profile activity, and finish update profile activity. Alright. And then let's add one else part to this if statement, and here I'm going to use try block to look for exceptions. So let's write throw task.getException. Then we'll have to catch exceptions. So let's just say exception E. This will catch all the exceptions. Then toast.makeText update profile activity dot this comma E dot get message. Now this will get the exact exception that has occurred and will be displayed on the screen. Then toast dot length underscore long, then close the bracket dot show. Now just check where this else part is ending, and we can set the visibility of the progress bar to be gone, which means we have to set the visibility after the if else statement. Alright, then just add one semicolon to this add-on complete listener bracket. Alright. Let's run the app now. And open update profile activity, and I will just try to update the details from here. I'll change my name, I'll change the date of birth, I'll change the mobile number also, and let's update profile. Let's refresh it, and you can see the name has changed, the mobile number has changed, as well as the date of birth. So which means update profile activity is working fine. And finally, we can just add the action bar menu in the update profile activity. So for that, just open upload profile pic activity, because there we have already defined the menu, the action bar menu. So all we need to do is to copy on create options menu and on options item selected method. These two methods, just copy it from upload profile pic activity, and then come back to the update profile activity. Then at the bottom we can just paste it. It should not be inside the on create method. Now finally we have to make some changes here. We need to change the context here for the intent, and that is update profile activity. Everything else is fine here. And then in the logout part also we need to change the context. Alright, let's run the app once again. Let's open update profile activity. And now we have the action bar menu, and they are working as well. And even after opening update profile once again, on clicking the back button, you can see that there was only one instance of update profile activity, and we returned back to the user profile activity. Anyways, that's all for update profile activity. Now in the next part, we are going to create update email activity. So let's see how we can do that.